In this video, I am going through a case study of my client JC, who is just naturally lean. And now he tried some cuts and some bulks in the past and never could really make the landing stick. So in this video, we're sort of discussing how we've made sure that he's continually to build muscle and lean out at the same time. Now, giving some premise to this video is JC naturally sits incredibly lean. So he's got a very high NEAT, which means that he fidgets a lot, he does a lot of steps, he does a lot of cardio. So naturally he stays very lean. So this is for someone who is, year round wanting to get bigger, but always just end up being shredded. And the important thing as well here to take note of is that most of the guys who I coach are in this position of leanness, they have a very strong emotional connection to their physique, because they're always known as the shredded guy, they're always known to be fit. So it's very important to them that they do not put weight on excessively hard, because they don't want to get fat. And we're going to talk about the reasons why we don't need to feed them full of 6,000 calories immediately, and just make sure that everyone watching this video, you know exactly what levers to pull that I use with JC and other clients to get them into this sort of shape. So JC was already lean. Over the 90 days past the foundational phase, we put on more muscle and he's still incredibly lean. So you can see here from the scale, we've roughly put on 1.3 kilos, and you can see off side by side of the physique here, the size of his back, the thickness through it, the delts, everything. This has just purely come down from proper programming to allow him to understand how to train to failure, and also just having the calories to match. So roughly it was about 500 grams to a kilo of lean tissue a month after the initial foundation phase. Calories are now matched to output, not just seeing the scale go up. This is a trap that I see a lot of guys and girls get into. If they're trying to build muscle, they look at the scale go up and they go, that's all muscle. High percentage of it definitely is not if it's increasing very rapidly. That's why I like the kilo a month. So most... Oh, it's that guy that interrupts the video all the time. Yes, I know, I'm so sorry. But again, thank you so much for making this far. DM me the word JC on Instagram. And if you book a call, I've got two things waiting for you. Super Secret 1 and Super Secret 2. Both will contribute to you to look like you train, and also, just a little hint, enable you to eat junk food while still staying on track. Back to it. Many guys think, building muscle is simple, just eat more. And that's, JC did that. And he'd bulk and he'd get fat and he'd get unhappy with how he looked, and then he'd cut down again. In that time, he would be making zero progress with as far as building more muscle mass, that in turn would make him look leaner anyway. The more that you do this cut bulk cycle, the more time you're actually losing from building muscle. Because muscle needs consistency with calories, it needs consistency training close to failure using mechanical tension, and it needs constant, consistent progression that comes from programming. Because he wasn't struggling because he wasn't working hard, he was struggling because nobody taught him how muscle is actually built. And this is a lot of situations that I get into, is that nobody really knows. I didn't know for a long time how actually muscle is built. I thought it was the same thing, like, oh yeah, I just eat heaps. The mechanism, as we get into, is going to be quite surprising. So we didn't start with food, because first of all, I wanted to start him with the LLYT, look like you train programming method. Through the foundations, we get technique, and then we get execution. We want to make sure that the stimulus, which is training, is at a very high level, so then it matches the food, and we get a result like we've got above here, where we're actually seeing visible change to the physique and visible change to his program, because that's the important thing as well. We want to see strength gain. So before I even thought about calories, I looked at his training, because food doesn't build muscle. It is simply just the fuel from a stimulation. If there's no stimulation, or no, in JC's case, and a lot of the guys and girls I work with, a high level of stimulus, the food does nothing. It just goes to fat. It's not used. Because food doesn't build muscle, training does. Food just allows that process to happen. JC has spent years training hard, but with not progressively, no system, and no measurable overload, essentially just turning up and putting a lot of effort into the gym, which is not a bad thing. It works, and it's gotten him a fantastic physique. But when you want to take it into that next level, the data needs to be on top of things, or else you just lead with your feelings. And as soon as feelings get involved, it's a slippery slope, because calories do not create muscle. They support the training that creates muscle. Okay, it's the fuel. So what actually makes muscles grow? Mechanical tension. I speak about this in all my videos. Training close to proximal failure. So we want to look at if those reps are slowing down towards the end of the set is essentially a great visible metric that you are training hard. Not to the point where you're just like shaking everywhere and it's all out of control. It's nice and controlled. And those reps, those last sort of 5 reps are starting to really slow down. Muscle sensor, it messages the brain, I need more strength. So more contractile proteins, this is where the food comes in. The food allows that through protein synthesis to happen. And then you put on more muscle tissue. Equals bigger muscle and bigger, happy, smiling Chad. So this is where most people get this wrong, because muscle doesn't grow because you just damage it. This is old sort of science where people think micro tears and then it's healing. It's just not. It's the muscle grows because it experiences enough tension that your body decides, hey, I think we need to be stronger next time. You want to think about it like this. Inside every muscle are tiny little sensors, and every hard set, each one asks a question. Was that difficult enough? And it's only asked that question if that rep speed is slowing down and you're progressing your weight and you're getting stronger. If the answer is yes, your body starts building more tissue, supporting contractile proteins, and those proteins are literally what makes muscle stronger and thicker. That is hypertrophy. It's not preparing damage, it's just preparing for next time. So to circle back and bring this back to JC, so before just adding a fuck ton of food, I had to make sure that JC was actually training at the standard that he needed to be to put on the muscle that he wanted. Because if it had no reason to grow, well, this is potentially why in the past he had put on lots of unnecessary weight that he would just cut off when the feelings would come in. So this is where the look like you train training progression system worked, and this is the foundational steps. From here, foundation, it's learn the movement, perfect technique, learn how to track your lifts through the Grounded Strength training app, and own the basics. Now, we can only learn movement and perfect technique if he sends me videos, which every single pretty much day he does on WhatsApp, and I'm able to give him feedback straight away and he executes it perfectly next week. So that foundation phase, depending on how good the athlete is, the client is anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks. Then we move into work capacity or accumulation if you really want to get technical. And this is once technique has been automatic, we slowly add enough volume that's going to stimulate growth to those target areas that we want to grow. Because not the maximum volume he could just survive, because he's got a busy job. He's working hard. He's a family man. We need to find that volume where it allows him to grow, recover from, and progress. We don't just go, hey, do 4 sets of 10 million. And then we move into intensification. This is where the phase really starts to shine and where we see the most progress happen, is because as soon as we are training at the right intensity, the body has a reason to grow. Through here, of course, we're still building muscle, but here is really starts to happen where we're learning to train close to failure safely. We're understanding how the rep needs to slow down. We're understanding how load progression needs to happen and everything else like that. And it's not every single exercise. It doesn't happen every week. It's not every single set, but there still needs to be a level of intensity that's happening to allow that muscle to be trained close to failure to send that signal to grow. Because most people skip straight to intensity. And in most cases, it's not just skipping straight to intensity. It's skipping foundation and going, I'm going to do 4 sets of 20, intensifying that with drop sets and supersets, and not understanding that, yes, maybe if you're an 18-year-old and you're living at home with your parents and everything's cooked for you and you just have to be a sponge, absolutely it's going to work. But as you get older and you have a family, you have a job, you have all sorts of other things, this becomes much clearer and needs a direct path to understand how we get there. So JC, as I mentioned above, he was a cardio fanatic, or is a cardio fanatic, which is not a bad thing. And, I'm not going to go to him and say, stop cardio, because he actually really enjoys it. Like he does, just with his job, he does a high amount of steps. And cardio for him is a great way for him to reset his mind from the busy job that he has and the stressful job that he has. So instead of just going, stop doing cardio, we need to build, it's like, well, he enjoys it. So if his steps are part of his job, what do I say? Don't do your job. Just like, this is just ridiculous stuff. This is where like good coaching and not just following a set program is key, because coaching is about removing stuff because you enjoy it. It's making everything work together and have the client know what phase they're in. So of course I said to JC, hey, with the cardio that he was doing, I go, let's pull back a few percentage of it and see how that responds with it. All of a sudden, whoop, he started to grow. And I'm like, cool, we've got it in a great spot. You don't need to touch it now. And he still had enough output and enough times that he was doing cardio a week that he felt good. He was able to reset. And instead now we have a great platform to understand, okay, this is your minimum effective dose as far as cardio is concerned, the amount that you like doing. Have the food to match that and the training, and to make sure that we are putting on size. To do that, we use the Keep It Simple, Tasty, Repeatable nutrition model through Grounded Strength. Same foods, more carbs, enough protein, and growth. These calories were just not random. It's all calculated. Protein stayed high. Carbs supported training. This is the important part here. Carbs are your wood to your fire, right? They allow you to train hard. Now, if you can train hard and you've got enough sufficient protein coming in, well, like I mentioned above, you're going to put on size if your training's hard enough as well. Meals stayed simple. I helped him understand that, we didn't need to get super complex here and make fake away Big Mac meals with high protein and all this fucking shit that keeps you hours in the gym. Simple shit. He's busy. Everyone complains that they have no time to get fucking shredded. Well, the reason is because you spend too much time thinking about what to fucking eat. It needs to be kept simple, tasty, and repeatable. I'll fucking scream that from the high heavens until I fucking die or someone silences me. That's the meals that get you fucking jacked and shredded and make you look like you train. So why he didn't get fat? Because the training signal was high enough with a small surplus that allowed the body to go, okay, we're going to put on muscle mass here and only a little bit of fat. Because this is where, I'm going to do a bulk. So all of a sudden, my calories go up to 3 billion. And then in 4 weeks, when everything starts to feel a little bit flabby, you cut and you've built nothing. A small calorie surplus is enough. And this goes for someone who isn't super lean as JC as well. When you're recomping out of, say, a cut, this is all you need. You need to just get some hunger levels under control and some, craving stability and allow the athlete to sleep, decrease the amount of movement, let everything de-stress, and then you just go, cool, we've got enough here. All the markers are saying yes, the physique's staying good, your strength is going up. Happy days. It doesn't require you to eat 5,000 calories. So small surplus is enough. Yes. Again, here. Some fat gain is normal. It's needed. Your body likes stability or to be at what they call homeostasis. When it's at homeostasis, it's going to be like, okay, well, the calories coming in now, I don't need to put on this body fat to have an issue with survivability, because that's all your body cares about is surviving. I'm going to put that tissue to where the highest stimulus is needed, which is training. Your body likes stability. A slight surplus helps hormones, recovery, and training performance. Absolutely. But huge bulks don't build muscle faster. They just build more fat. Like, you're getting bigger. Now, this is definitely the case with someone as lean as JC. He would have a very, very sensitive insulin sensitivity. So he'd put on weight really rapidly. If I was just to jump up his calories, he'll put on weight really, really quickly. So we don't want to do that. So we just want it just above maintenance calories, okay? So because JC now is training really hard, he's tracking his protein's really high, and he's only eating just above maintenance, most of those extra calories have somewhere productive to go onto these fucking giant basketball-sized delts. In 90 days, you've got more muscle, you're still lean, and now we can push again. If everything's green, I just go, cool, repeat the week. You don't need to just continually just add calories to it each week. If performance is showing that you're increasing, there's no signs that you're slowing down, joint pain, you're sleeping well, your hormones are in check, you're fucking horny, you're woken up with boners and everything else. This goes not so much with chicks, because we don't, endorse that sort of transition on ground of strength. But we want to make sure that with all this, all the health markers are in check before we just go, cool, more calories and get fat. It's not going to lead to a physique that you are happy living in. Because JC didn't transform because he trained more. He was already training fucking heaps. I had to actually bring his volume down for what he wanted to do. He didn't transform because he ate more calories. He transformed because every decision finally started to work together. The Look Like You training method gave him a reason to grow, following the 3 levels of progression. And Keep It Simple, Tasty, Repeatable gave him the simple, tasty, time-saving fuel that his body needed to grow. Consistency did the rest. Now, if you've been sitting on the fence and you want to plan for the next 90 days, there's a link in the description. Now, for the first 5 people that reach out, we've actually got a special little surprise to give you. So if you do book, I'll see you on the call and I'll also see you with the surprise. Thanks.